about an hour to talk to you guys, answer all your snowboard questions. We got snowboard season approaching very quickly, so really exciting time of the year. One of my favorite times is actually just right before the season starts, kind of like getting all the gear together, kind of making the plans, picking up the season pass for the season. So yeah, it's very exciting times. So I wanted to come on here, talk to you guys, and yeah, just see what everyone's up to, see what everyone's plans are for the upcoming season, talk to you guys about what you need for the snowboard season. So if you have any questions about gear, definitely hit me up. If you guys haven't yet, subscribe here to SnowboardProCamp and hit the bell so you get notified every time I do go live. And yeah, if it's your first time to the chat, feel free to ask me a question about anything, gear, advice on riding, anything that's on your mind at all. So yeah, hit me up. I'm excited to be on here with you guys. And yeah, it's exciting times. If you guys didn't see it, I recently put up a video about snowboard gear size. So if you have any questions about what size snowboard to get, what size outerwear, that's a good place to start. I try to go in depth in that video about what to get. So we've already got a few people hopping into the chat. Laura is in the chat. Says, "Hey Kevin, I'm going to try and do an ollie on my snowboard in the winter." Nice, Laura. That's awesome. Yeah, ollie is like a good place to start in terms of like learning tricks, because the ollie is kind of like what teaches you how to like get up into the air. You start to build that air awareness. And if you want to do your first ollie, a few tips, just like think about first doing it someplace that's fairly flat. So someplace that is like mellow where you're not going to pick up too much speed, because for the ollie, you want to be able to ride straight and flat to do it. And then start to like lean some of your weight towards your tail. So almost like dropping your hips down towards the tail of your board. And then you want to, like, as you lean onto more of your back foot and drop your hips towards your tail, you start to push up off of that back foot. And by pushing up off the back foot, you kind of start to flex your board, and that's what can get you up into the air. And then for the ollie, bend your knees evenly up into the air to bring your board up, and then land straight, and then finish it off with a couple of speed check turns. But yeah, have fun with the ollies out there. We got Jose Bortista in the chat. What's up, Jose? Thanks for hopping in, man. Joey says, could you give a rundown of the Jones Surf Series if you've ridden all/any of them? Yeah, I've ridden a few of those boards. So I've the last one I rode, I believe, was the Storm Wolf, and the Storm Wolf was really fun. The way I would describe the Storm Wolf, I think like surprisingly it wasn't like that quick to turn. It was kind of like, I think it liked to make like really big turns, but the swallowtail on the back was like really fun. So yeah, the Storm Wolf was one that, I don't even know if they still make that board, but I had a great time riding the Storm Wolf. It was awesome. Really good for like floating in powder, floated super well. And kind of, I took it on a heli trip actually. And on a heli trip, it was like amazing for like riding really fast through like deep snow and like doing some big powder lines. I don't know if this one's in the Surf Series, but I also rode the Mind Expander Pro, and that was a really fun board. So it was one of my favorites for sure. The Mind Expander is a bit more soft and playful, and the Mind Expander Pro, I believe it had more camber and it was like stiffer, so a little bit better for like hard charging, landing drops. So that one's cool. And then what else have I ridden? I may have ridden a few others, but I know that, for example, the Storm Chaser is a fun POW board, but definitely like very like POW specific, not that easy to ride like on the groomers. Actually, I've ridden the Storm Chaser too, and that one, it wasn't super easy to ride on groomers. Really, its strength is in like I would say like mellow powder, and for like drops, I feel like the because it's like got a very short tail, it wasn't that great in drops. I could feel like I think a few times I was getting into drops on the Storm Chaser and would like kind of go out the back because I didn't have a ton of tail. But yeah, I mean the Jones boards are really cool. I mean there's like a good variety out there, and yeah, just try to learn kind of match your riding style to the Surf Series board that you're looking at. No Caffeine says my goal is to learn to tame dog this year. Awesome, man. Yeah, tame dog, super fun trick. I recommend like learning it on a trampoline first, so you get that like motion going on the trampoline, and then take it to the mountain, preferably on a pow day as well. We got Bad Riders in the chat. What's up, man? Bad Rider says, shout out to the best snowboard community out there. Awesome. Thank you, man. Yeah, and thanks for being a part of it, Adam. Freaking rocking it now for 25 months as a channel member. Thanks, brother. Lara says, thanks, I love your tips. Always wanted to learn to try that since I was 12, but was terrified to. I also love snowboarding on moguls. Oh, no way. Okay. Yeah, the moguls are definitely a challenge. So that's cool that you're into it, because that means that you like challenging yourself. And if you can ride the moguls well on your snowboard, then you can definitely take it to anything. Day Job Shredder in the chat. What's up, man? Thanks for hopping in. Day Job Shredder asks, hey, Kevin, how does a traditional camber differ from a hybrid camber? I mean, so a traditional camber board is going to be that like full camber. So right to the contact points, you're going to have the camber going all the way to those points. And so I would say a traditional camber is more aggressive, is going to feel more catchy, because as you're turning, you might feel your tail catch once in a while if you're not very precise with your turns because of that full camber. But the benefit of full camber is that you are going to get a lot of power out of that camber. So when you push on it, it's going to give you like energy back. So really fun, like for carving, for doing down and weighted turns, for getting in control of your board. So spraying some snow to kind of like slow yourself down and get in control. Even for ollies, I feel like full camber, as you flex your board for an ollie, it kind of gives you a lot of response. Versus a hybrid camber is going to have some rocker mixed in. And you know, the rocker kind of does the opposite of the camber. It flexes the opposite way. And so the first thing that you'll notice with the hybrid camber is, especially through your turns, they're just going to be a little bit easier because you don't have that full camber going right to those contact points. So the reverse camber is going to feel much more looser, easier to turn, less catchy, but at the same time you might get a little bit less energy, a little bit less feedback from that reverse camber. So it's kind of a trade-off. You get a bit more of an easier to ride board, but then at the same time you kind of lose some of that energy. But then the brands do make up for it with things they can add into the board to like give that energy back. So I do think like a hybrid camber is like the way to go. I feel like that is, most boards now are a hybrid camber. I think there's very few like traditional camber boards. So yeah, hybrid camber I think is just the way to go for a more enjoyable kind of easygoing ride. Mezzi would rather strap on skis than hit the moguls. I mean, moguls aren't my favorite either, but they are a good challenge. Like when I get to like some moguls, it does provide a good challenge. But I don't seek them out personally. But I see where you're coming from. Rob Gam says, "What are your thoughts on the phase bindings?" Yeah, they seem fine. I mean, it kind of just seems like the it's like the rear entry system with like, they kind of keep the ankle strap kind of half done up. So, you still have to do the straps, You still have like, yeah, you have like the rear entry. So, I mean, I haven't tried them for myself. But yeah, it's kind of like cool to see all the different binding brands now coming out with new technology, trying different things. So yeah, it'll be cool to see. Yeah, we'll see what people have to say about phase. Todd says, "What are your thoughts on the Rome phase snowboard bindings? Because I might buy some." I mean, I haven't. Same answer as the last one. Haven't ridden it yet. Don't know much, but yeah, I would say this channel is sponsored by Clue, so I'd recommend the Clue step-in binding. That's the way to go. Laura says, "Oh, and Bad Rider's giving the phase a thumb down." Awesome. Laura says, "I also wanted to know how boarders who haven't been able to strap their back foot standing up after getting off the chairlift. I always have to do it sitting down." So if you want to strap your board in standing up, the first thing you need to do is like build yourself a little shelf. So kick with your heel like a shelf into the snow. So just digging some of the snow out with your heel so that your board can kind of sit into that shelf and like sit flat. And then from there, with like a little bit of balancing, you should be able to do your board up standing up. But it just takes a bit of practice. So practice that, find the good spot, maybe look at other riders, see where they're doing up their board, and yeah, try it out for yourself. Dig that shelf and then practice balancing and strapping up while standing up. Day Job Shredder says, "Fantastic, thanks. Just got my forum board today. Immediately set up the clues on it. Nice. And going to be going to a full camber from a hybrid camber." Okay. I mean, yeah, give it a try. You might love it. You might love that full camber. But yeah, just be aware it might feel a little bit more catchy. So it might just take a little bit to get used to. Just getting used to that full camber feeling. But in the past, I've definitely found that after like a day of riding a full camber board, you really start to just like change up your riding slightly to like adapt to the board. And then I'm sure after 1 or 2 days on it, it's going to feel like your normal setup. Bad Rider says, "Kev's newest board would crush moguls." Yeah, I hope so. Jacob saying, I just snowboard this year. Awesome. Very first time. Awesome. Jacob, yeah, welcome to snowboarding. Hope you have a great season, man. Evelyn saying, happy TGI everyone. Yeah, thank God it's Friday. All right, we're here for the weekend. Jeremy asks, "Kev, I ride goofy, but I skate left foot forward. How rare is this?" I think it's pretty common actually that skateboarders ride with a different foot first than they do on a skateboard than a snowboard. I feel like this is just something that happens. I don't know why it happens. Yeah, maybe it has to do with like the resistance of the wheels versus the resistance of snowboarding and something changing. But I mean, whatever works, that's the most important thing. But I think I have a couple of friends out there that skate in the other direction that they snowboard. So it's a little bit common, surprisingly. Bad Rider is recommending getting step-ons, and then it makes it easier for strapping in, standing up. Awesome, good advice. Yeah, Jacob, beginner snowboarder, love it for the first time. Awesome. Lara says, Jeremy, when I started boarding, I tried both ways, but found that goofy riding with right foot forward is the one for me. Nice. I mean, and the way that I recommend people to find out which one is their front foot is you think about like which way would you slide across a like slippery floor. So for me, like as a kid, I was always, when I played hockey, I would stop with my right foot first. If I were to slide across a slippery floor, I'd put my right foot out first And same thing, like at my elementary school, if there was like a hill that was concrete, and any time that we'd get some ice on that hill, I'd always go down right foot first. So that's how I knew I was goofy. Yeah, I feel like everyone has that left or right that they kind of prefer for putting out first when sliding. Jay says, have you ever ridden the Yes Standard at all? I have not, Jay. Mezzi, been on a DOA with forced bindings since 2019 because of Kev and TJ. Awesome. Best decision I've made. Thank you. Very cool. Yeah, the DOA, classic board. Yeah, I'll have to get myself back on one of these days, hopefully soon. We got lots of board questions coming through, and my computer is dead, so I'm not going to be able to look up boards. But Jeremy, do you think the Ride Shadow Band is okay board for Sunshine and Lake Louise, or should I be looking for a certain style / profile? I think for Sunshine and Lake Louise, it kind of depends on like what type of riding that you want to do. So, I mean, both places have really fun parks. So if you want a board that is more park leading, then I would go check out a park board. But both places also have really great like alpine and trees, and so you might want to get more of a free ride board if you'd rather ride the trees and alpine. So Jeremy, it's kind of like up to you, like what style of riding you're more into. Dayjob Shredder says, hey Kev, when starting to hit jumps, and any tips on keeping the weight from shifting to the rear as you hit the incline? I attempted my first jump and too much shifted to the rear and I slipped out. Yeah, so basically what happens is that as you're approaching a jump and you hit that like the kicker part, the pressure starts to like push more onto like the front of the board first and then the back. So there's kind of like a pressure shift that happens under your feet. And so you kind of have to feel it, like anticipate that pressure so that as you come off the lip of the kicker, you're kind of back to centered. It's very common. It's happened to me before too, where I'm coming up the lip and then I don't handle the pressure properly and it kind of puts me into the back seat, and then I start to kind of like wind down the windows to recenter myself, to kind of try to get back oriented. So the trick is, I mean, the basic thing is just to build your confidence with riding fast. Maybe hit some like smaller jumps first, or even like, do lots of side hits. But you just have to think that as you ride up that kicker, you kind of have to have level, like kind of weight over both feet. Don't let the jump kind of push your weight back. So, I mean, it's just kind of comes with practice. And I'm sure like if you hit that jump, again, even you still might get into the back seat a little bit, but you'll naturally start to like adapt and feel that out. But yeah, like if you hit the jump and you've gotten into the back seat, just build up your confidence again, hit some maybe smaller jumps, hit some natural side hits first, and then give it another go. Joey wants to know, what's the best resort in the States for a boarding trip, keeping budget in mind? Okay, interesting. Keeping budget in mind. Yeah, that's tricky because, yeah, the resorts are getting expensive. Yeah, Joey, what part of the U.S. are you in? I would say, like, I mean, there's a couple of things that really affect, I feel like, the price of a ski trip. I mean, I think the two biggest ones are accommodation and then lift tickets. So, yeah, some resorts, lift tickets are going for $200 a day, like average, maybe even $300. So I think that would be something to consider. And then on top of that, like accommodation can get pretty pricey too. So like one place I find that accommodation is really expensive is Colorado. feel like, yeah, for hotels, Airbnbs, it's very pricey. And then most resorts too, like, yeah, lift tickets are very expensive. So try, if you can, depending on where you live, because flights, you can get cheap flights kind of anywhere in the US. One place that kind of like jumps to mind is Mount Baker in the US. It's not the easiest to fly into, although it might be. You might be able to fly into nearby. So you fly into Seattle and then you drive like 3 hours, or you might be able to fly into the town that's near Mount Baker. But for example, like that resort, lift tickets are like less than $100 a day, and then you can stay in a hotel within an hour drive of the resort for like fairly cheap. So yeah, a place like that, I'd recommend. I'd recommend Mount Baker. Um, Man, it's tough. It's it's tough for cheap. There's a place called Mount Schweitzer in Idaho. I'd probably recommend Mount Schweitzer as well, or Schweitzer. Yeah, Mount Schweitzer, Mount Baker. Um, Man, yeah. If anyone else in the chat too has any inexpensive resorts, maybe share that as well. Mezzi says, three mountains for the rest of your life. What are you picking? Three mountains for the rest of my life. I would probably pick one. I'd pick uh, Gulmarg in India. So I got to go there 2 years ago now, and that place is pretty amazing. So Gulmarg, India, that would be one. Where else would I pick? Yeah, maybe I would pick. I'd probably put Whistler Blackcomb on there. That's going to be my home mountain this year, and two big mountains connected by a peak-to-peak gondola. So yeah, super cool place. And then the third, I'd probably put yeah, maybe Japan, like Niseko, Japan, as the third. Good question. Bad Rider says members chat today, Kev. Maybe. Let's see how we get to the end, and I'll let you know. Dayjob Shredder says smaller local resorts can make for some great trips. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, the smaller local, yeah, if you can check lift ticket prices and kind of get to that $100 mark, and then on top of that accommodation is reasonable, then you can kind of make for an inexpensive trip. Mezzi says, I love Bear and Snowbird. Awesome. Yeah, two really cool places. Jamie says I was just going to ask if you've ever been to Baker. Yeah, Baker's one of my favorite places. I feel like it's super kind of kept as a well secret. It does often get cloudy and kind of like heavier snow, but the vibes at Baker are really good. I really love the chalets there, are very homey, and like I really like the chalet vibe. And on a powder day, you like can't beat it. It's yeah, some really fun areas to ride, really fun trees, just really cool winter vibe. And then the mountain view from the parking lot is unbelievable at Baker. That's like one of the special things. Yeah, it's a super special area up there. And then the hike out of the top of Chair 8, kind of backcountry hike, is very accessible too. Yeah, one of my favorite places. Juan says, good morning from Niseko. Awesome. What's up, Juan? Juan Mesta from Niseko. How has November been there? Do you guys have some snow already in Niseko? Let us know. Joey says, Baker's the move. That's all I had to hear. Nice. Yeah, check and see if you can fly into the, for some reason I'm drawing a blank on the town that's at Mount Baker, but maybe you can fly into that town too. Juan saying, yeah, it's starting to snow here now. Awesome. Somebody called Baker, says Mount Baker. with the hard eyes. Very cool. Jamie O'Brien, Shannon, Whistler. Yeah, Whistler is pretty awesome. J-Man says, Schweitzer is awesome, but parking sucks. Okay. I guess it's been I don't remember the parking situation there, but I'll take your word for it. Bad Riders putting Falls Creek, Australia on that list. All right. HN says, how old is too old to start snowboarding? Good question. I mean, I feel like there's not really an age where, there's any certain age to like avoid starting snowboarding. The one kind of asterisk I would put on there is that in snowboarding, you're probably going to take 1 or 2 falls as a beginner. So that is something to be aware of. So if you are, on the older side and you don't want to take like, a couple falls where you could have some potential, pains or whatever, then, you might want to avoid snowboarding and get into skiing. My parents are in their like 60s, kind of like, I think my dad is turning 70 this year. So like I wouldn't encourage them to get into snowboarding because you can kind of like, you can potentially have some bad falls. But yeah, it kind of depends on how athletic you are too and how coordinated you are. But I feel like there's not really an age limit. There's kind of like a risk assessment that you should maybe do before. Andrew wants to know, tips for getting off chair lifts? Let me try that again. Andrew wants to know, tips for getting off chairlifts without falling. Yeah, I mean, for getting off the chairlift, snowboarding is one of those things where you're definitely, it's like, you're not definitely going to fall, but it's very common for snowboarders to fall at least their first couple times. If you want to avoid falling, the best way to do it is to practice ahead of time. So what you can do is just with one foot strapped in, find a very small hill that mellows out and practice your 1 foot riding. And practice your 1 foot riding like over and over again. Just taking a few steps up that small hill and then pointing your board straight with your free foot in the middle and just doing the same thing as if you were getting off the chairlift. And when you get to the top of the chairlift, you always have to ride down like a slight, like a very small hill with 1 foot, and then drag your toe in the snow to stop yourself. Either drag your toe or drag your heel, depending if you want to go to the left or right. But yeah, if you practice ahead of time, and there's a bunch of videos on the channel that kind of show you how to do that, practice a lot ahead of time, it'll prepare you for the chair. So yeah, watch some videos on it first. Practice before you get on the chair, and then if you can too, when you do get to the chair, watch other people, like watch where people get on. You can either ask the lifty too to slow it down for you for your first time because like you're a beginner, and even at the top you can like ask the lifty sometimes at the top to slow it down too. So yeah, practice, watch people, and then ask the lifty to slow it down. You should be good. Infamous 13. I don't know what you're talking about, but maybe ask me again. I'm not really sure what that question is. Andrew says, I started when I was 37. Yeah, 37 is definitely very young. So that's, you're all good at 37. Somebody has some advice too for getting off the chair. Let the chair push you. Push your back foot against the back of the binding for better stability. Absolutely, yeah. Kind of like stand up first, and then yeah, like you're saying, the chair keeps pushing you forward, and then yeah, you stand up with your back foot in the middle of your board, but against your binding. Bad Riders says, interesting. There's no Euro mountains on your list, Kev. I mean, I do love some of the European mountains, but I haven't. One thing that I think some of them are missing is the trees, and I know that a lot of them do have trees, but maybe I just haven't been there. Um, yeah, when they've got them. But yeah, European resorts are definitely like the biggest, like way bigger than anything. Like, there's resorts that are 10 times bigger than Whistler Blackcomb over in Europe. So I know they're huge, and I know that yeah, the Alpine is incredible. But yeah, I haven't found that European resort that I really really love. Juan saying just moved here, so Niseko 6 months back, and looking forward to the snow season, and hopefully I'll run into you. Awesome, Juan. Yeah, I'll let you know if I make a trip out to Niseko. Oh, I'm 61 years old and enjoying it. Wow, awesome. Perfect. Tuba Tuba says, I'm 51 and just got back into it after a few years ago. Can you fall and not break anything? Yeah, it is possible to fall and not break anything. You just have to kind of fall gracefully. Learning to fall there's some tricks to that as well. Not putting your hands straight out, kind of falling onto your forearms. And then wearing the safety gear. Wearing all the safety gear helps you to avoid those bad falls too. Bad Rider says, best tip I ever got for getting off a chairlift is to be the first to stand. Get off quick, you won't have to dodge anyone. Nice. That's another thing too. If it's your first time getting on the chair, you can actually, if you're riding with friends, maybe just try to do it not with a full chair as well. Or tell the other people around you, hey, it's my first time, I want to go. If it's a 4-person chair and you kind of have 2 people on it, that's ideal. 3 is okay. But yeah, try to do it where it's not a full chair. Strub says, in Europe, snowboarding is declining very much the last 10 years. Is it still a thing in the US? Yeah, in my opinion, snowboarding has still grown. I feel like the numbers, skiers and snowboarders are getting closer together. I feel like now more than ever, it's kind of evening out. I know, for example, in Japan, I think even snowboarding is more popular. But I think in Europe, there's more of a racing culture. And I feel like that kind of ties into the style of mountains too, where the mountains are very a lot of groomers, a lot of just riding the groomers, which I guess is kind of a more ski thing. And I think in Europe too, there's a lot more school ski trips too. They almost learn to ski in school a lot of the time. So I feel like that's part of it. So yeah, snowboarders are still a pretty big minority in Europe for sure. Mezzi, I'm 27 and just strapping in gets me fatigued, but it's worth it. Awesome, yeah. Snowboarding in itself will keep you in shape as well. Bad Riders, if you can't stay in shape boarding, you are doing it wrong. Yeah, you can definitely push yourself on a day of snowboarding so that you're getting a good workout out of it too. Amnil, yo, what's a good board for someone with a size 13 boot? I want to carve and surf, but don't want a unresponsive plank. If I had a 13 boot, I would be looking for one of the volume shifted boards maybe, and then just ride it at your regular length. Yeah, something that's wide. I don't know. Yeah, I would definitely also just look at the specs online. I know the Orca is very wide. The Libtech Skunk Ape is another wide one. But yeah, I would just be doing some research on wide boards. But yeah, it's tough with 13. But yeah, it's a good feeling though when you don't have that toe hang. So yeah, good luck in your search. Infamous says, what's it like going from dry slopes in the UK to real snow? I'm going to find it harder or the same. So yeah, if you've only ever ridden dry slopes, I think there's going to be, you probably have like a short kind of learning curve of like, yeah, getting the feel of the snow. But once you get the hang of it, you're going to love snow. Yeah, snow is like much easier, much better, more forgiving. And yeah, the dry slope, I mean, all the practice you put into the dry slope will pay off in terms of like, yeah, your skill will be so much higher than if you had never done that. But yeah, there'll be a short learning curve and then you'll pick it up, no problem. J-Man's got a tip for getting off the chair. It says, put your back foot against your binding, go straight, and don't try to turn right away. Yeah, good point. Yeah, free foot into the middle of the board, against your binding. Yeah, let it go straight. And then, like for me, I'm goofy. And if I want to turn to the left, I drag my toe in the snow. If I want to go to the right, then I'll drag my heel in the snow. And when I say drag, I kind of just like put, if this is my board and this is my foot, I'll kind of just like put my toes like kind of into the snow a little bit to drag them. Half my foot on the board and kind of half off. Juan says, I always let the people who are on the chair next to me the direction I'm going. Yeah, when I'm on the chair, I kind of let people go first. Just kind of like, and then yeah, like you're saying, let people know. It's like, hey, I'm heading to the right. Hey, I'm heading to the left. Alex, great chat, great video from everyone. Awesome. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out in the live chat here. Don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell so that you get notified every time I go live. And we got, yeah, we've got almost 50 people in the chat and yeah, 12 likes. Let's get some more likes on the board. Strub, Austrian resorts have a lot of trees. French have more space on the slopes, but less trees. Okay, good point. Evelyn, where is your favorite place to ride in Washington? I personally like White Pass myself. I've never been to White Pass, but some of my favorites, I mean, I think Mount Baker is my favorite for sure. Then I think like Crystal Mountain might be number 2. Crystal's pretty cool. And then number 3 would be Stevens Pass. I do like all 3 though. All 3 are like very fun to ride. But I would definitely say Mount Baker is my favorite. But I haven't been to White Pass yet, so I'll have to check that out. Alex says, so in Austria, Badorf Gestein rocks. Okay, cool. Mr. Gray says, where are you from? I'm in Canada. Yeah, so I was born in Canada. So I'm from a small city called Oshawa, which is near Toronto. And I live in Whistler, BC. Bad Rider says, I know I bully the people I know who ski. If they want to join me on my trips, I only take snowboarders. So it's learn to slide the plank or find your own way. Dang, that's rough. That's super rough. Mr. Gray, I snowboard, wouldn't trust myself with the chance of my legs going in 2 directions. Yeah, that is one thing that skiers have a little bit more of a risk with, is like having each leg kind of independent. I think skiers get more knee injuries that way compared to snowboarders. We get different injuries. I think a couple of people recommending wide boards maybe. Nitro Magnum, Nitro Dinghy. Says, looking at the GNU Gremlin, used to ride the Stump Ape, but it is as too hard to get it to turn. Okay, yeah, it's a beefy one. J-Man says the K2 Sky Pilot. Noah, I always try to get off first, get out of the way straight, then turn once I'm out of their way. Yeah, it's kind of like it can be tricky getting off the chair, like knowing where everyone's going. But I think, yeah, it's like if you tell people where you're going or asking somebody, hey, which way are you turning? And then, yeah, kind of going straight long enough so that you're in the clear to then go left or right. J-Man, dragging a foot off the board is like a rudder in water. Nice, good analogy. Aaron's Snow Adventures, another trick for getting off a lift is to make sure you are 60% weight forward and reach down with your forward arm towards your knee. Also, pick a spot to aim as well. Nice. Yeah, you do put more weight for sure onto that front foot for sure. Jesse says, funny this popped up. I was just watching snowboarding movies from when I just started out in the early 2000s. Very cool. Like, yeah, what movies were you watching? Your own movies or movies of like some pro movies? Yeah, what were you watching? Dry Zone, I go to Baker all the time. Nice, I live close to it. Very cool. Mogul Power Cycle says, hey brother, I just pulled the trigger on a Beta APX from my backcountry slack country trip to Revi. Based on your quick reviews, I was stuck between this and the ride Deep Fake or ride Mountain Pig input. So I haven't ridden those other two. I know that the ride Mountain Pig, I haven't ridden that either, but yeah, the Beta APX, awesome board. Yeah, for powder, floats super well. Just, yeah, cruising through the powder, one of my favorite boards. Great free ride board. Turns pretty quick. Yeah, I think you're going to love it. Good choice. Yeah, very good choice. And Margaret Powell Cycles is from Toronto. Very cool. Mr. Gray, I was at Big White last season. Was a great time. Oh yeah, Big White's a very cool place. Yeah, really fun. Some fun small trees. And yeah, it is called the Dirty Schwa. That's where I'm from. Jesse, know anything about Mountain Creek, New Jersey? I don't. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, what's it like there? Animal volume shift has been a revolution for me. Yeah, I love those volume shifted boards. Even though like I just have regular size feet, I still love the wider boards. When my wife and I live in the San Francisco area, we visited Kirkwood, North Star, and Heavenly. Oh, 3 really good places there. Yeah, Kirkwood, yeah, some great alpine, some fun trees there. And North Star, the terrain park, is one of my favorites. And they've got some really fun trees at North Star too. Heavenly is like a good one as well. I find Heavenly maybe is a little bit too busy the days I've gone, but still has an incredible view of Lake Tahoe. Waylon says, "Are you boycotting Vail?" I'm not. I'm not. I do have the Epic Pass, so I'm not boycotting Vail. Alex says, Step-ons is so much practical and effortless, making snowboarding so much accessible and efficient, getting off the lift and back to the slopes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and it's cool to see with bindings all the new tech that's coming out. Adam dropping the super chat. Thank you, Adam. I'm going to give that a heart. Members chat topic. Which board would you hang? Oh, like kind of like as an art piece. Oh, very cool, man. Thanks for the super chat. And yeah, that's speaking of super chats, if you guys want to help support the channel, you can hit that super chat button. Yeah, it's a great way to support the channel, and it guarantees that your question will get answered. So yeah, thank you for that. Mezzi, I think for me, I learned getting off the lift by being okay with falling and embracing the learning curve. Nice, Mezzi. Yeah, I mean, too, you can like definitely prepare for it. Like just doing that 1 foot practice, finding like a small hill to ride with 1 foot, that'll really set you up too, so that you can hopefully avoid failing. You always want to avoid it if you can. But embracing it too, like, I mean, yeah, when you're learning snowboarding, you kind of have to accept that there's going to be a learning curve. Jesse, okay, the snowboard movies you're watching: After Lame, After Bang, Unleashed, which I had on VHS. That was my very first movie around 2001. I was in sixth grade, maybe. Such great songs in those old movies that really shaped my music taste. Awesome. Yeah, very cool, man. Yeah, some of the old movies I was really into the Mac Dog videos. So I was watching like, what are some of the, Picture This, and then also From With Love. That was one of my favorites. And then the Forum movies as well, Forum or Against Them. Yeah, so many great movies that shaped my music taste, and also motivated me to go snowboarding as well. Alex, do you have any vintage boards you like? Funny thing with me and boards is I don't keep my boards. I'm like, because I've like moved around so much the last 20 years, I'm always getting rid of my stuff. And so donating, I've like donated pretty much every board I've ever had. Sold a few if they were like brand new, but yeah, I'm not too like attached to boards. One that I had that really stands out is I did have a Burton board. It was called Jeremy Jones. It was like the street Jeremy Jones Pro Model. And that was a really cool board. It had some really cool artwork, but it did get stolen off the mountain. And maybe that's why it stands out for me, is because it did get stolen, but I did really love that board. Bad Rider says, size 9.5 boots, and I exclusively ride wide boards. More room for adjustment and dialing the setup in. Yeah, same. Me and you the same, Adam. And thank you, Adam, for keeping the chat clean, man. Jesse says, Mountain Creek is hard to describe. Builds incredibly good riders and always has great features. They're in New Jersey, so they're working with the tough snow cover, but there's heart and soul in that mountain. Oh, that's really cool to hear. Yeah, like I grew up like in Canada, in close to Toronto, and it was kind of the same thing. Like smaller hills, not much snow, but everyone kind of like really put their heart into making it a good place. Joseph, hey, I got a new board. This is my first season. I went 2 days a long time ago. I hot wax. Is that okay? Yeah, definitely. So you definitely want to wax your board like every 3 or 4 times you go riding. Depends on how long those days are and like how the board is looking. But typically with a brand new board, you can get away with like a day or 2 of not waxing it. But yeah, it doesn't hurt it to wax it. And yeah, the more you do wax your board, I feel like the better it'll glide and the more protected it'll be. So yeah, definitely can't hurt it by hot waxing it. Mezzi, Mountain Creek South Peak made to the park border I am. Oh, very cool. Joseph, as I learn to get better, I would like to get a powder board. I'm riding a 167. Should I size up a bit or go smaller for a powder board? It kind of depends on the powder board, to be honest. So some of the volume shifted powder boards actually encourage you to ride them smaller. And this style of board, in my opinion, is like better for like cruising, for like more flat terrain, maybe for just like gliding through the trees. Where if you go for more of like a free ride leaning powder board where you're maybe riding with some speed in the alpine or doing drops, then you might want to go bigger. But yeah, check out the sizing chart and the weight range on the powder board that you're interested in, because some are going to tell you to go, might tell you to go bigger or smaller depending on your weight. Mongrel Power Cycles says, board shapes are interesting point of conjecture for different style riders. What's your opinion on having front foot overhang versus back foot toe heel overhang when set back or set forward on side cut? Preference? Oh, that's a complicated question. What do you mean by overhang? I mean, you can definitely, if you mean like your kind of like your toe or heel coming like out over the edge, I mean, I think that's what you mean, but on both you can have like your toes or heels hanging out a little bit, because that's fine. They're kind of high up off of the board, so you're not going to get that drag. But you can also center your boot with the disc, like with the disc as well. You can kind of center the boot, so you can center yourself with by adjusting the disc. And I actually have, so I have 9.5, so I'm like putting my toes, my boot a little bit further towards my toe edge, because if I just center it normally, I'm going to have some heel overhang. I hope that makes sense. So depending on the size of your feet, you can kind of like center your boots on your board. Animal, no, I've never added structure to a base. But yeah, that's an interesting kind of thing to do. If you found the base too slow, for example. I don't have any experience with that. Mongrel, and what's your preference in terms of board shapes and steer of the rear versus steer on the front foot? Oh, do you find it conditionally specific? I think with like steering with your knees, like it kind of depends on the level of rider you are. But when I was like kind of more just intermediate, I was definitely steering more with my front foot. But then as I became like more into advanced, that's when I found that I'm like steering with both knees. So ideally you want to steer with both knees. That kind of gives you more control, you know, quicker turns, more ability to twist your board as well. So yeah, steering with both knees, I feel like that's what you want to be doing. So it's a good thing to practice. And my preference for board shapes is like I want a twin board for park, and then for free riding and powder, like I like a more directional shape. So a wider nose, longer nose, and kind of a shorter tail, and maybe even something that has like a slightly notched out tail too, to make the tail sink a little bit easier and turn quicker through the powder. Benjamin, I'm 6'1", 170 pounds, and 161 is my powder board in Mammoth. Okay, awesome, man. That's like a big powder board for you. That's awesome. Perfect. All right, guys, I might do a few more questions and then hop out of here. But yeah, thank you guys all for sticking around. Did they stop making the name dropper? I love that board, but they haven't come out with a new look I like. Yeah, I haven't seen the name dropper around recently. Maybe they've stopped making it. Jesse, thoughts on rocker style boards? When they hit the scene, I never looked back. Being able to do presses easily is so fun. Speed's a little wild though. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it makes kind of like riding just easier, a bit more fluid, less catchy for sure because of the rocker. And yeah, it makes for presses and for like floating and powder and stuff, like all that much more easy. So yeah, I feel like every board, pretty much every board out there, and like 99% of people probably will benefit from some type of rocker happening in their board. So that Camber rocker mix is, I feel like, the best. Yeah, it's been a good thing. Joseph Flood with the $5 super chat. Awesome. Thank you, Joseph. A few more questions, guys. Jesse, the real question we need answered for are air blasters going to make a fashion comeback? You mean the Air Blaster outerwear brand or some other Air Blaster? But yeah, I haven't had an Air Blaster jacket in quite a while. And but they make some cool stuff. The thing with the Air Blaster brand is for some reason around the neck it feels like it's like too tight for me. Joseph saying you like the Capita Mercury. I know that Bad Riders loves the Capita Mercury, so maybe I mean it's I have not ridden it too much, but yeah, some people love it. Yeah, look at the specs and see if it's the type of board that complements your riding. Mezzi, shout out to painting behind you of the woman hitting a J. Okay. No, that is something else. I don't know what's going on up there. Mongrel, dope live chat, doggy. Much respect for all the answers. Love hearing opinions, experience of others and better riders. Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah. We'll do another one next Friday and possibly another one midweek too. So yeah, stay tuned. Oh, Alex with the $27.99 super chat. Wow. Alex Machadon. Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Says, enjoy a lunch somewhere on the hill. Happy riding. Hello from Blue Mountain. Oh, very cool. Blue Mountain. Which Blue Mountain is it? I know there's a couple, but there is a Blue Mountain in Canada as well, and I've been there a few times. But yeah, thank you for the super chat. You're probably at the Canadian one because it was in Canadian dollars. Thank you, Alex. All right. Awesome, guys. So it's going to hop off the chat there. But yeah, appreciate everybody stopping in. If you haven't yet, definitely subscribe to Snowboard Pro Camp. All my gear and sponsors are below in the description too. So check out the sponsors that help to support this channel. But yeah, thank you guys for all being in here, for everyone that did the super chats, for everyone for dropping a question. Yeah, I feel like this was a special one. Tons of really good questions, and yeah, helps to keep me on my game too. So I appreciate you all stepping in. And Adam, I will make up for, I'll do another members chat. I don't think I have time tonight, but yeah, another members chat another day for sure, man. But yeah, thank you guys all for hopping in. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Awesome. Peace.